across Atlantic Canada, communities are feeling the effects of climate change. Coastal ecosystems are seeing these changes too. But studying these environments can help ecosystems and human communities adapt. The Community Eelgrass Restoration Initiative, or CERI, aims to increase understanding of eelgrass meadows and their role in mitigating and adapting to climate change, and to work with members of the public to restore meadows. Climate Atlantic spoke with lead scientist Christina Berter to learn more.
Eelgrass is a wonderful plant, and not very many people know that we have extensive eelgrass meadows around Nova Scotia. And really, there's a lot of benefits it gives us that we never learn about. One thing is that it's such a vibrant and complex ecosystem that a lot of species call it their home. And they use this ecosystem like an underwater meadow for example, to raise their young, for feeding, for hunting. It also protects our shorelines. It can slow down the energy of the waves coming in by up to 40%. And that is often better than any man-made structure. So that is, I think, more important as storms increase and we're getting more bad weather. And then also a big part of it is that it actually sequesters carbon. So it catches carbon from the water and really incorporates it into the meadow and eventually channels it down into the sediment. So we're trying to better understand the role of eelgrass in Nova Scotia, but also raise its profile and share these many benefits it has with the public. So one thing when we started this work was like, yes, let's get out and study eelgrass. And the first point we noticed was like, so where's the eelgrass? And that was a bit of a challenge, that we were like, there's no baseline and there's very little data that we could draw on. And in fact, we were just starting up a bigger project to understand how we can study it in the most time and cost effective way, which is a combination that we hope will work between using an aerial drone and mapping the area to stitch together a map of the coast that we can see the eelgrass and other ecosystems, and then see how it changes over time. People don't often connect eelgrass with climate change, but indeed, a lot of the coastal marine ecosystem and seagrasses at the forefront of it are called a nature-based solution to climate change. This is because it is so very effective in catching the carbon that circulates through the ocean, which is commonly termed blue carbon. So eelgrass here can put out a new plant about every month. So there's a lot of growth in the water, and of course that growth takes up carbon as much as trees, for example. A lot of the carbon that seagrasses and eelgrass in particular capture gets channeled into the sediment. And to study that, we're going around the province and we're taking sediment cores. So we take a small cores in the eelgrass beds that go down to about like 80 centimeters. And then we look layer by layer how much carbon there is and how old the carbon is, to understand how long the meadow has been there, how long it has been capturing that carbon, and then also calculate if the meadow would be destroyed, how much carbon would be released. The restoration work is central to our work and research. We want to involve people. We want to get people out there and get them in the water, get them in the mud, and have them experience this kind of activity themselves. So we are managed between the Future of Marine Ecosystems Lab at Dalhousie and the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq. So a big focus of our work has been with Mi'kmaq communities around the province. And indeed, they have been some of the most active communities we've been working with, which has been wonderful. So this year, we're entering our third year to work with Pictou Landing First Nation. And we planned around waters where they have been traditionally at home for many centuries. And this year also we're starting a project up with Batangek First Nation, and we've been privileged to learn from them around their work of eel fishing and work with some really young fishermen, which was amazing, and learning about how they perceive this work and the connection they were very aware of between the eels they fish and the ecosystems. So they took us around and showed us traditional hunting grounds and shared stories and knowledge around that. And then we hopped in and took a look, and a lot of the areas had been degraded, had very little to no eelgrass. So that really motivated us to find some of these areas they told us about and see if we can restore them together with the community this summer. One thing, because it is known that, of course, if you interact with something like that and if you get to participate, the feeling of stewardship and ownership of these kind of things, and also your understanding and your care for these kind of topics increases. I've really seen this in practice and have been overwhelmed with how appreciative people are, how engaged, and how caring. And they say with so many bad news around, and the general environmental grief that a lot of us are feeling around biodiversity loss and destruction of nature and climate change, that these kind of things help them with their mental health, that at least they seem to be appreciating the chance to be part of something that makes a positive impact.